Good morning, everybody. Pastor Stitch, Narrow Path Christian Church, BC, Bay City, Michigan. Welcome to the Biker Devotional. Today is April 23rd, 2026, and we are looking at Proverbs chapter 23 and verse 10 and 11. Proverbs 23, verse 10 and 11, and they say this: Do not move an ancient boundary marker. Do not encroach on the fields of the fatherless. For their Redeemer is strong, and he will take up their case against you. You know, several years ago, I had a friend who had a neighbor who bought the house next door. And they came in and they decided that they were going to put up a fence on the property line. And so they put up a fence. And the neighbor insisted, my friend insisted that the neighbor put the fence in the wrong place. That it was crossing into their property. And the neighbor kept saying, no, I put the fence on my side of the property line. And my friend kept insisting that that was their property, and they were angry because they were losing some of their land, some of their property. And it was creating a difficulty because they had developed their lives around this portion of land, being able to get in and out of their yard and driveway and, using that space, and they were upset. Well, the reality was, it came down to, just because you'd done it that way for years and the old neighbor didn't argue with it at all, doesn't mean that it's yours. Well, the same thing applies here in this situation. Don't move an ancient boundary marker. Don't encroach on the fields of the fatherless. Because when it comes down to it, the Redeemer, the person that actually owns it or has rights to it, will reclaim it and make your life difficult. But it goes deeper than just a physical piece of property. Because we have actual boundaries in our lives. They're ancient boundary markers. They are things that are just truths. Things that God created, natural law. And those boundaries are in place. And just because we've lived across those boundaries for years, centuries, decades, whatever it might be, we've crossed those boundaries and we've lived as if those lines have been moved and our line is safe. Doesn't mean that at some point the Redeemer, the one who actually set and has the right to call the line, won't stand in that. For years I called my line for drinking, as long as I don't get drunk every night, I'm okay. But once in a while, no big deal. And the reality was, once in a while wasn't okay. The reality was I was an alcoholic and I shouldn't have been drinking at all. Now, that's not necessarily an ancient boundary marker, but it was a boundary marker for me. I lived one way and it was really bad, but when the Redeemer, God, came along and said, Jay, it's time for you to live for me, things really had to change. And I'll tell you what, I fought tooth and nail to hold on to what I thought was my right. But there are so many ancient boundary markers that are out there for men lusting after women, overeating, wasting our time with some fruitless hobby, whatever it might be. Those are all ancient boundary markers. And then there's the precise things that God has set in place as well. So today, as you go out into the world, remember that just because the world has approved of the line being moved doesn't mean that the Redeemer, who has the right to call the line, won't come along at some point and just say, yeah, I know you've been living that way, but doesn't change the line. It's difficult sometimes to realize that. I think sometimes we should do a little survey on our own lives and see where those lines are at. I know I need to continually do that. How about you? Guys, I love y'all. Hope you have a great day. God bless.